Zoinks! I'm so scared. This week on Cartoon Dumpster Dive, we cover the Scooby Doo Project. I don't even know what to call it.
I mean, you called it by its name.
It's not really a cartoon, so I don't know really what to actually call it.
Just the Scooby Doo Project.
Just the Scooby Doo Project. Joel.
Yes, Andrew.
We're covering Scooby and the Gang another time in our podcasting career.
Love it.
But this time, we've got a gang of our own.
We do.
So we've got back two longtime friends of the show and real life. Dusty from the Flicks and Friends podcast. Say hey, Dusty.
Hey, Dusty.
And then we have James from the band Garot. Say hey, James. There you go. So you guys both have things now. You did originally. So why don't you go ahead and soapbox, promote whatever you want to promote. Or talk about what I know James wanted to talk about something important. So whoever
I did.
James, why don't you go first then?
Okay, it was just mentioning, the SC venue crisis.
South Carolina venue crisis.
Yes, there's a lot of problems with the insurance rates being risen a insane amount to where it just can't be paid by small businesses, and it's caused a lot of places to close, and it's all over Facebook. I don't have all the information. I'm just a guy who's trying to be like, hey, people who can make change, so everyone should look that up. Very important. It's affecting restaurants, businesses, every place because of some insurance bullshit that they are putting more responsibility on the venues than is really even fair, because they're having
local or not, help out your Carolina brethren. You know what I'm saying?
That's true. Lamb of God and a bunch of national bands looked out. So sweet.
Yeah. So Dusty, what do you got going on? We already knew from the last time you're here, but do it again.
I'll do it one more time.
Dance, monkey, dance.
There it is. I'm Dustin. I'm 1/3 of the Flicks and Friends podcast. We are a variety movie podcast. We just wrapped up our 80s horror month, and we'll be starting a new month. We theme them out, give you guys a little inside baseball. Next month is not Marvel and DC month. So we'll be doing comic book movies that aren't Marvel or DC type of shit. We're on all social medias. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, all under Flicks and Friends podcast. I post some fun shit on TikTok. I'm more active than anything on Twitter. So not X, not DMX. So,
he's not in anywhere. He's been dead for a while.
He can't give it to you no more.
Can't give it to you at all.
Joe gonna give it to you.
So this week we are talking about something fairly different. It's not a series. It's not even technically a special, so to speak. There was in 1999 a 24-hour marathon of Scooby-Doo on Cartoon Network, and in between the commercials and segments, there were clips of this short titled The Scooby Doo Project. It aired during that 24-hour marathon of Scooby Doo, and then once again, and then never again. And it was just almost, until YouTube was invented, it was a lost piece of media.
Yep. It was It's pretty interesting because it was actually three dudes, or just three people that Cartoon Network hired separately to promote the 24 hours of Scooby-Doo. And then the Blair Witch Project came out, blew up to the point where they was just like, oh man, we should parody the Blair Witch Project, and they actually asked Cartoon Network if they could work together and do like this anthology of ads for Scooby Doo, and Cartoon Network was just like, yeah, go for it, and it was great.
This was back when Cartoon Network, and I feel like a lot of networks, they tried harder. The 90s were definitely like a try harder era of like doing shit. Because if this was out today, it would be an Adult Swim short. Most definitely. Especially with like rewatching it. This is dark. For I was like, I don't remember a lot of it, but like going back and watching, I'm like, this shit goes to some pretty dark places. Like they're active, like the Scooby Gang is actively mad and frustrated with one another.
Yeah,
like very frustrating degrees of like being mad at each other. Something that I don't feel like you've seen, and I feel like this series also sets a precedent to their parody personalities more so than anything else, because you don't really have, outside of Johnny Bravo, they weren't really parodied that much in the 90s. You would just have like jokes of like, Fred gets the gang to split up so he can go fuck Daphne, and Scooby and Shaggy get high. Velma's a lesbian. That was the joke in the 90s. That was the only joke they had. Velma was a lesbian. Yeah. She didn't become a sex icon until millennials decided that nerd chicks were hot.
Well, that was before that. That was even before we had the Harvey Birdman episode and the live action movies too. And also, that's when she became a sex icon, was when Linda Cardellini was dressing super hot in that Scooby Doo movie. Just got to point that out. It was before the nerd girl popular things. Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, let's just give her credit here.
Yeah, they were openly assholes to each other in this short, like, and it kicks off like they're like, yeah, this is Fred, Daphne, and that's Norville Rogers.
Did anyone else learn that was Norville? That's how I learned that Shaggy's name was Norville. Was the Scooby Doo Project. I remember that clear as day.
Oh, you mean like?
No, I feel like it was the pup named Scooby Doo is what.
No, I mean that's probably where it came from, but that's where I learned it. That's where I learned it personally. So before we get into the real nitty gritty of talking about this, the voice cast is very short. Frank Welker's Fred, Mary Kay Bergman is Daphne, Scott Ines is Scooby-Doo, Norville, Shaggy Rogers, and Scrappy-Doo, and BJ Ward is Velma. Frank Welker has been in more things than you could ever imagine, but in the very short-lived 2015 show Hulk and the Agents of Smash, he is Odin. Mary Kay Bergman is JJ and JJ the Jet Plane. We've got Scott Ines. Scott Ines is not in a lot of stuff. He's in a lot of the Scooby-Doo video games as Shaggy Rogers. And then finally we have BJ Ward. She is Aunt Margaret in Curious George. So how about that?
It was actually the same team that did the voices on Scooby-Doo on Zombie Island that did the voices for these.
Really?
Yep, because that had come out like a year earlier. And the funny thing is, they recorded all of these voice tracks over the phone. They had just called in on the phone to do it all.
So let's set the scene a little bit. So the Blair Witch Project is a found footage horror movie. It is the found footage horror movie. Out of the four people,
by the way,
out of the four people you will be hearing talk about this parody today, only one of them has not seen it. Who could it be? It's me.
It's Scrappy Doo.
It's Scrappy. Oh God.
So first of all,
Let me
I want to say, and I don't know if you guys will agree. This is almost like a true crime documentary too, like loosely, because at the very first part,
Yeah.
they're like talking to the cops about like, well, we went to this van and we saw a bunch of VHS tapes. We'll be able to investigate them in the 24-hour Scooby Doo marathon. They're like, what about the missing kids? And they're like, just watch the marathon.
Yeah.
And it's like almost like the cop investigation. I was like, this is like kind of true crimey in a way.
Yeah,
And,
it's like they're setting up making a movie out of this. Like they're treating us like the audience regardless. Like there's a narrative and there's a plot to all of this shit. So yeah, I loved that. I loved the 2D and real setting. I loved all that.
The if you haven't seen it, it's live action, but they're still cartoons.
Yep.
Even the van is real. The only thing that's cartoons are them, and then including
the monsters cartoon.
Yeah,
too.
the monsters cartoon, and then all the people they talk to, they're all real.
Dude, fucking Shaggy goes, these woods don't look like normal woods, man. And like, well, what do you mean? He goes, they look real.
And they're like, we're gonna go solve a mystery, as they are wont to do, and they go interview everyone, and they're just like, they all have different like stories. They're like, oh well, there's this spooky space ghost, or there's a creeper in the woods, and they're all just different Scooby Doo episodes. And then this one lady, she's like, don't go in that woods. I don't go in there. I never go in there. And then it pans over to them driving into the woods, and this is the start of Shaggy's just absolute sassiness, where he's like, I bet she's never goes near a dentist either. Talking about that lady's like, because that lady's got like fucked up teeth, and all of them are like, whoa, Shaggy, that's a little far, don't you think?
No, they all laugh at it. What are you talking about?
Well, they
was
do
all
that like
laughing at
they
it.
go, oh, stop, Shaggy. They wanted to pretend that like they didn't laugh. It was one of those jokes.
It was a funny joke. What are you talking about?
But the way they set it up though with all that, that's exactly how they did the Blair Witch. Like when the Blair Witch was coming out, it was promoted like a true crime. Like they had like news
real
reports. They like, paid for it to be on the real footage. Like they went all out to make you think it was a real documentary, and it kind of kick-started the whole mockumentary thing being popular because
that's true.
You
that's
thought
true
the
too.
shit was
Along
real.
with found
Like,
footage, it is a
people.
mockumentary as well.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, and they interviewed people, talked to cops, all that stuff. Like they went the whole nine with it.
Yeah, man. And it was one of those like with the production that they had, all of the advertisement. They only spent like $60,000 total on that movie.
Yep.
And opening weekend, dude, that shit grossed $1.5 million.
Yeah.
I wonder how much money they spent on the Scooby Doo project.
Nothing. It was very like they had almost no budget. The everything was filmed on one of the guys' parents' property.
Okay.
And like all the people you saw, like all the live action people, that was just, some of the writers. And that's it. Like it
that
was
would make sense the way they treated it. Yeah, they were just as silly as what's happening. Yeah,
exactly.
I was just curious as to how that worked because animation would be kind of expensive too. I just was wondering how that worked, or maybe they just like they don't move a lot, so I guess they just superimpose them into it.
Yeah,
the camera moves them. They don't move. So that's probably what they did.
Yeah, and they had a small budget because Cartoon Network, they hired these three, writers and creators to create something. They gave them a budget, but they was able to just, use their brains to create something fantastic.
So, the next thing they do is they have to set up camp. And they're just like this is where they learn that they only have one tent.
Help me set up the tent. Did you
They're
say
like,
tent?
Tents or 10? No, 10. And this was the one thing that I felt like it was really smart for them to do. They start getting mad at Velma way fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just like, will you shut that?
You can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
Now we can.
Now we can.
I think Discord just cut you out.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Oh, you're gonna have a lot of audio to edit on my end.
It's all good, dog.
But where were we at?
Oh, just
They
talking
were
about.
getting all, super pissed off with Velma.
Yeah,
because she
they're
kept
getting
wanting to
way
film
mad at
everything.
Velma, and they're just like, they first of all they were like, yeah, we're gonna camp at the cemetery, and like Shaggy's like, why would we do that? And-
The way he makes it sound, because Fred didn't. This is the first night they camp is the first night they set up the tent. So, did they just sleep at the cemetery?
Yeah.
Like, was there no tent involved? Like, what the fuck did Velma and Daphne sleep in if Fred's hoarding ass was the only one that brought a sleeping bag?
yeah. Well, really, I feel like why were they surprised when Fred brought one tent? If they wanted more than one tent, they should have brought their own fucking tent, you know?
You know what I'm saying?
So we cut a little bit further and they're in the tent together. And they're all uncomfortable with one another, and you hear like rustling around, and you just hear ba, 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 ba. You're like, what is that? No, they're like, did you invite him? He goes, no, I didn't invite him. And it's like puppy power, and he shows up, and they're like, ah. I love that like Scrappy Doo has somehow turned into this one of the most hated characters in all of fiction, almost.
Yep.
Dude, they're like, what's he doing here? And they're like, maybe he's here to solve the mystery before us. But yeah, when they're in the tent rustling around, dude, the banter they have between each other when Daphne's like, all right, who put these fucking crumbs in my bedsheet?
Yeah.
And they're like, Shaggy, he goes, well, no, or Fred, he goes, no. Fred, it was maybe Daphne, and Daphne's like,
Yeah.
why would I complain if I was the one that put him there?
Yep.
Yeah, because they blame Shaggy, and then Shaggy's like, no, it has to be Scooby, and he's like, no, it's not me, and it must be Fred, and Fred's like, well, maybe Daphne did it, and she goes, what? Why would I complain if I did it?
Dude, and then Daphne goes, Shaggy, take your shoes off. Wait, never mind. Don't take your shoes off.
So after the Scrappy Doo thing, I guess they play another episode of Scooby Doo, and then we come back to the gang, and there's a monster screaming out in the tent, and Fred is like, can't you two go out and handle it? This is like one of my favorite quotes. It's definitely up there. So the first thing Fred does is like, can't you guys go out there dressed as surgeons to confuse the monster and tie him to an operating table? You guys do that all the time. You work well with monsters. And Shaggy's like, we're like out in the middle of the woods. Where are we going to find a gurney, Fred? But they still somehow convince Shaggy and Scooby to go out. Yeah, because Daphne asked first in that scene, and was like, is anyone willing to go out there for a Scooby snack? And Scooby and Shaggy are like, no.
Nope.
And so they go out and they're looking around, and I think one of the other things they do, I think it's morning at one point, and there's a pile of Scooby snacks. And Shaggy's
They're arranged weirdly around the tent.
They're piled weirdly. These Scooby snacks are cursed, and then like Shaggy's like, I'm not gonna eat them. Scooby, you eat them. He's like, okay. And he goes, Scooby, did you trick me?
They're stale, man.
Yeah. Oh my god. I'm like, what? They're stale.
Yeah. So that happens. Like that's another. Like a lot of the shit that happens in this cartoon is mirrored images from the movie. Because in the Blair Witch, they wake up and there's just mounds of rocks around the tent.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and they freak out. I think the only thing they don't do in this show is they're in the movie, the Blair Witch Project. They're walking around and they see like the symbol, like the fucking hanging thing from the trees. They don't do that in this, but we get like the dog, the stake dog.
They have that's the logo. Title.
Yeah. But in the movie, they're all hanging from trees. You know, that's kind of like they start their downward spiral of their fucking madness in the movie. But a lot of the parody shit in this is it's spot on, dude. Like,
it's perfect.
It's good.
So they travel a little further, and we I think they're walking at night. They're trying to find the mystery van, and I believe this is where
it's only an hour this way. It's only an hour this way.
Yeah. The one thing I think at first they do it during the day, and like Fred, like they're just like, okay, Fred, where's the map? And Fred pulls out like a cartoon treasure map that just has like, he's like, I think it's like Velma goes, this isn't a map. This is just a picture of the woods in the mystery machine with a dotted line and an X.
Right around this time, they find the clues of the feet prints on the ground.
Yeah, that's right. And they're just like, Fred's like, oh my God, this monster must have 10 legs. And Daphne's like, those are our footprints, Fred. We've been walking around in circles.
Yeah.
And
that's another thing that mirrors the movie is like in the movie, one of the girls, destroys, like gets rid of the map.
Okay.
So they're like, where the fuck's the map at? And they're like, well, I don't know. I guess I got rid of it. Because the gag for that is when they're looking for the map, Shaggy put some fucking Tabasco sauce on it.
And
ate it.
So we're walking through the woods, and this is another sassy Shaggy moment that I loved. So I think he says something like, "Zoinks, we're lost," or "Zoinks, we're never gonna make it back." And Velma's like, "Zoinks? That's all you have to say? What does that even mean?" And Shaggy goes, "Oh, I'm sorry. Should I've said jinkies?" And like Daphne and Fred start laughing. She's like, "That's kind of true, Velma. You also got your own ridiculous ass catchphrase." I still don't know what zoinks means. Does anyone have any information on that? Other than him,
I don't know.
It's just an expression.
But I know when that's like right about when Velma loses her glasses.
Oh yeah, they get way mad. They start getting fucking mad at each other. Actually, I will say, I want to point this out. Daphne and Velma start going after each other like an hour into their little adventure.
Yeah.
Like they start going, "You bitch." Like,
dude, but one of my favorite like gags of this whole little series is it's nighttime and we just see the tent. We hear them talking, and Fred goes, "You know what? How long has it been? It's been like 7 days, right?"
Yeah.
And you're like, "Yeah." He goes, "And we haven't pulled one mask off anybody. Usually our little things only take 23 minutes, and and then we go about our day and there's a new case."
Yeah, he's like, we've never really had anything like this. Is like, and like Velma's like, why did you bring this up? He goes, "I don't know. I was just
appreciate the
trying
little things.
Trying to be grateful or something like that." It's just trying to be positive. So this is another thing. The monster, I think, is chasing them at this point. We see him, and they're running. They're running through the woods, and then they get away. I feel like they get away, and they find a house. And Velma's like, "Oh yeah, another thing about when they get mad about the glasses thing, they're like, how come she never helps us look for her glasses? She just stands there, and then we have to find them." And then she's like, "We always tell you to get a glasses strap, Velma. This happens all the time." And like
Glass is trapped.
Fred is at his limit with everything. And then
The glasses
I know
were at
that
the feet of whoever
yeah,
was holding
Fred
the camera.
actually found them, or no, Velma had the camera, so Velma pans down to her glasses, but she can't fucking see him, so she pans back up, and then Daphne gets chastised by Velma for running in high heels in the woods.
Yep.
And then Daphne's like, "Well, at least I try to look cute. You could do a little bit better to act feminine." And I'm just like, "Ooh, fucking that bitch said that." Ooh,
Caddy.
I mean, it's like,
They're hitting each other with so many lefts that they're begging for fucking rights, you know?
yeah, I know it.
Ooh.
Like they went after, and I don't think Fred and Shaggy have any real turmoil with one another.
I think what they're doing is they're just sitting back there waiting, you know, for the actual cat fight to happen.
Yeah, they're just like, at least we can watch them duke it out before we die.
And out of nowhere, like Fred, like out of his pocket, pulls like a bucket of popcorn out.
Yeah.
Big chilling, watching this fight.
So they start running to the house, and this is the best line that Shaggy has, in my opinion. Shaggy's like, "Oh yeah, let's go into the haunted house in the middle of the night. Now I know why you're the smart one, Velma." It's like Shaggy has had enough. This is probably this. I mean, because they've never been in a horror movie before. It's really funny to watch the Scooby Doo gang completely out of their element in this kind of scenario. Like, it's just like, holy cow. Yeah, if they really ever went through some shit, it's almost like if you could do a horror movie with the Scooby Doo gang, or if they like CSI Coolsville, that would, because they live in Coolsville.
I think it would be more like Tucker and Dale versus Evil. Like,
there we go.
Have you ever seen that?
Yeah.
It's two dudes just going about their fucking day, and then everything's happening around them. Yeah. I feel like that's what the Scooby Gang would deal with. Like, the actual spooky shit is happening back there, and they just happen to be there.
Oh my God, these kids have a suicide pact. They're killing themselves.
I'm just minding my own business, and these teenagers keep killing themselves on my...
What do you want me to do? Tell the officer we've had a doozy of a day? Hilarious. But no, like right after that line Andrew just said, Shaggy hits you with the 1-2 combo, because they're inside the house and it pans over to a radio, and then music starts playing, and Shaggy goes, "Oh, great music. We always get chased when music plays." And it turns around and there's the fucking monsters
right there. They run up the stairs and like, crap, it's a bunch of doors.
I hate the door gag.
I hate the door. They do the door chase scene, and then eventually it just kind of pans back, and they caught him, and they're just like, "All right, let's see who the creeper really is." And they pull off the mask, and he's just like, "It's just some guy." And they're just like, "Why'd you scare us?" And he goes, "'Cause it's Halloween. That's what you put on a mask at Halloween." Okay, I was not doing anything wrong.
He doesn't. He hits him with the line. He doesn't say, "If it wasn't for you meddling kids," he says, "If it wasn't for you intrusive kids." And that was just like, right. Don't you mean meddling?
Yeah, don't you mean meddling? Oh yeah, after the door scene, they do the famous Blair Witch Project scene where Shaggy's standing in the corner and Velma's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "I'm so scared." Like,
oh no, he says, "I'm so hungry, man."
Yeah, he's so hungry. He's like, "I'm so hungry." That's right. Yeah. And then that's when they unmask the guy, and they're just like, "Well, if you did this on Halloween, why did you terrorize us through the forest?" And he goes, "I didn't do that." And then they turn the camera again, and then the real creeper shows up, and I assume kills them. Because there's so the original ending is it just shows the creeper, I guess, but then like it just the last part of the extended ending is like If you have any information about the whereabouts of these teenagers and one Great Dane, please call 555-555. I'm like, did they die?
Yeah.
Yep.
And then they do the whole like Velma like has the camera up to her face and the I'm so scared type of thing.
Yeah.
She goes, we got cocky and all that shit, and we took it all for jokes. And that's what I liked about it is they treated you like you were watching a movie.
Yep.
Watching a movie within the movie, you know, like we're led to believe that the cops are watching that tape now of the ending, which is pretty fucking rad.
Yeah.
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 While it looks like you might be in an editing spot, I was going to point out you said it was the same cast from Zombie Island, but Billy West was Shaggy in that.
Well,
Oh.
I'm sorry, James. I'm just one dude.
I just wanted to wait till where it was a break where you could edit it out because I didn't want to be like.
Oh no,
a
I'm
rude
keeping that in
jackass
there.
on the-
I'm keeping that in
Oh,
there.
okay.
Who was it? Billy the West.
Billy the
Billy
West.
from the West. Yes.
Yeah.
You know why Casey Kasem didn't do it?
Why not?
He was dead.
In Zombie Island? No, he wasn't dead in Zombie Island.
Oh.
Because Shaggy is vegan, and they had him eating crawfish in Zombie Island. He's like, no, I can't. You know, that's not the character. And he's not vegetarian because Shaggy eats ice cream, but everything Shaggy eats is a vegetable. He eats eggplant burgers.
He eats like salami sandwiches.
He never the sandwiches that are this big.
Yeah.
Does he eat them or does Scooby eat them and Shaggy eats the fucking bread?
Oh, I don't know.
No
All
way. I'm gonna have to YouTube.
So
that.
this
What
was
the
actually
F word?
so the kids are dead. We're just gonna all
There
agree
it is.
they
Yeah,
died.
I feel like they did. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was
they're dead.
reviewed by Vanity Fair just to show you how ridiculous the 90s were. And it was actually praised for being a very good introductory to horror films for kids so they can learn to not take horror movies 100% seriously, which really gets us to our brand new reoccurring segment, Joel's Review Project.
Oh,
A found podcast medium where Joel finds the scary reviews of the Scooby Doo Project.
solid this week, Andrew. Knocked it out the park.
Yeah, man, I'm doing my damnedest over here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So really, I'm just going to read a 10 out of 10. There's really no low review.
Yeah, this was loved. This was more.
Yeah.
This is more like we're covering this because it was hard to find and showed up one time.
So this is just called Cute. It's just fun. I loved it. Such a great spoof of the Blair Witch Project. Scooby and the whole gang really funny. I sat there all day laughing my head off. Scooby Doo can pull anything off. That's it. I didn't want to read any of the long ones this week. I'm tired.
Yeah. I mean, this series got a lot of praise. I mean, like, how much effort did these guys really need to pull for a fucking commercial break? Like, bit? Like, there's so much. There's a real mystery machine. Like, they made one. I also wonder if that mystery machine is still around.
So that was actually a mystery machine that was up in Canada, traveling around Canada, doing like Comic Cons, and they actually flew up to Canada.
Around.
Yeah, they actually flew up to Canada to shoot those scenes with that. But Andrew,
that was probably like over half the thing's budget right there.
Andrew, yeah. I'll go and tell you this because you never watched the Blair Witch Project. This thing is parody-wise probably one of the best parodies of the Blair Witch Project because, you know, we talked about like how the gang is at each other's throat the entire time.
Right.
That's what the Blair Witch Project is about. It's about a group of friends going out into the woods and slowly turning on each other and slowly just blaming each other for everything. It is a fantastic parody.
You know, they should do
it's
more.
Amish Paradise level.
Yeah, they
There
should
we
do
go.
more Scooby Doo horror movie parodies, like those pictures that have been floating around the internet for so long, like the gang goes to Camp Crystal Lake, or I know that but they're like drawings, but they're drawn exactly like Scooby Doo.
Yeah.
They should do more. I would think that Hellraiser would be pretty interesting because they're so wholesome, and Pinhead's so pervy.
You're basically talking about them bringing back the Scooby Doo movies of like Scooby Doo and Batman, Scooby Doo
Yeah.
and the Harlem Globetrotters.
Scooby Doo and Hellraiser, or
Oh my god, dude, just palling around. They're buddies.
We have much delights to show you. Oh, I hope it's a turkey on rye or something like that.
The box. You said the pizza box?
The pizza box,
The
man.
box.
No, the box. Like
Oh
they're
boy, I hope there's a pizza
or like
in it.
they're so wholesome and stupid. Like they just don't get the concept of what they're trying to do to them.
Yeah.
They end up in the Texas Chainsaw Massacre because Shaggy and Scooby see that it's a butcher shop.
Yeah. Oh, they want the famous chili, right? That was one of the
never
things.
skimp on the meat.
Yeah.
You never skimp on it.
I've heard a lot of things. I heard a lot of scary things about this Camp Crystal Lake gang. Let's check it out.
Dude, you look at this
Jason
doll.
in the door thing. They can't, or they try to unmask him, and it like gooey sticks. And they're like, "Oh my god!"
I just imagine them doing the door thing with Jason, but Jason like walks through the doors. Like
Yeah.
there are no more doors at the end of it. You know?
Yeah, they're all in the middle, and they're like, "Oh, there's no more doors," and then they have to beeline it down the hallway.
What do
Or
we
like,
do?
Freddy Krueger gets really frustrated with like Fred has too wholesome of a mind, because not a lot of people know this, but like Fred is the most wholesome out of all of the Scooby Gang. And so like maybe he targets Fred first, and he's just like, his love for all of his friends are so frustrating that like he can't like scare him to turn on him. And he's like, "What is this?" And he's like, "Well, I'm from Wisconsin, brother. We just got a pretty positive attitude."
Freddy actually turns good just because of how
Yeah.
wholesome his dreams
He
are.
changes Fred. Like Fred Jones defeats Freddy Krueger with the power of politeness, like Midwestern politeness, and he's just like,
That would be amazing.
he comes out like in, you know how they have like Freddy Krueger movies where they pull him out into reality sometimes, but he has like an ascot on like Fred.
Like Fred, yeah. Dude.
Or
That's
Daphne
amazing.
accessorizes Michael Myers, and he feels like a
Oh
person.
my god!
Like he gives him a makeover.
Oh my god! These
I
are
think-
all brilliant.
Yeah, they
He's a
like just
creeper,
yeah.
but Shaggy and Scooby are like, you wait 23 years to eat. You wouldn't be so mad if you ate
Yeah.
more frequently.
Why don't you take a snack break? But yeah, that would be that. I would love to see more Scooby Doo parodies of mature parody things.
Man, I know we talked about this last week, but I just want to see Scooby Doo and Ash Williams.
Yeah, that would be great.
You know,
I'm super
that's
surprised
another
that
good
hasn't
one.
happened already.
Yeah.
But you did. I thought you said Scooby Doo and
Well, I brought up Ash
Courage.
Williams.
But yeah,
Yeah. Courage and
we
Ash
did
Williams.
we did get that Scooby Doo Courage crossover. That's pretty sick. I don't
Yeah.
know if any of you guys have watched that.
Not yet.
Scooby Doo and Supernatural.
It's on
I
Max.
watched part of it.
This also, the
I need to
Scooby Doo
see the
Project is
Supernatural
on
one.
YouTube. It is super easy to find. I highly suggest anybody who loves Scooby Doo, which all four of these grown 30-year-olds, they love Scooby Doo. Highly suggest giving it a watch. But what are our closing thoughts, fellas?
James, you can go first.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Okay. When I first started watching it, I didn't remember it much, and then when it got into it, I was like, oh, okay. So I remember this, and I was like, I couldn't decide if I liked it, but it is pretty much a perfect parody, and it's just
Yeah.
if I'm being 100% fair, I know this is fucked up, but the teeth joke left a bad taste in my mouth, and I was like, "You fuckers!" So like for half of it, I was kind of
you
mad
are
at
pretty
him.
sensitive
Yeah, of
about
course.
that.
I
second
am.
that.
I was just like, you hold up, but like it really is.
Wait a
it's
damn
the perfect
minute.
parody.
It's not a parody.
It's the
That's
perfect
real
parody,
life.
and I just love Scooby Doo. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, any Scooby Doo things are fine except for Velma. So like, and that's
Oh,
not
you
even
mean
a Scooby Doo thing.
the series Velma, not the
Yeah, even the YouTube series Mystery Incorporated, which I don't know if y'all seen that. It only has one episode so far. It's just like a group of people who are like, we like Scooby Doo and we're gonna make it realistic, and they're like all real people, and they're like GoFunding the series. But it's another one of those, like, it's a real take on Scooby Doo. Y'all were talking about something earlier about it being
okay.
in real life, and that's what it reminded me of. Scooby doesn't talk.
There's also that one comic book about them in the like apocalypse that I hear is like pretty good.
Oh yeah.
But Scooby doesn't really talk in that one. He like talks with like emojis and a AI robot thingy. So yeah,
Like,
I haven't read it. It was pretty off the wall, Banana Fosters. Dusty, what about you? Closing thoughts on the Scooby Doo project?
I loved it. Like rewatching it. I remember when it aired, but I also remember not staying up the 24 hours to watch all of it.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that, Joel sent it to me, so I can actually watch the entire thing. But I remembered it. I love the parody. It's a perfect, like I'm going to echo everyone, man, because the scenes that they do in the cartoon are verbatim to the movie. So a lot of it's like true to the source, which is fucking tight. I love the sassiness of each character, like how they were at each other's throats. They were almost like real people instead of cartoon characters at that point. And it's just a banger, dude. It makes me want to watch the Blair Witch Project, not the Blair Witch, the new one. Have you seen that shit?
I have not.
No.
I haven't seen the first one, so why would I go see the other one?
Yeah, they made a game out. The game is pretty good, but the game's scary as fuck.
Yeah.
But yeah, it makes me want to go watch the Blair Witch Project again, which I will probably do in the near future.
Yeah, that sounds like a fun time. What about you, Joel? Closing thoughts on the Scooby Doo project?
I love it. It's just fantastic. Look, we talk about so many crap stuff on this podcast that when we get something that is actually enjoyable, I can't say enough praise about it.
You can't praise it enough.
Dude,
I absolutely
if
agree.
you've got 25 minutes and you just want to be entertained, watch this.
Watch the Blair Witch Project
great.
and then watch this. That would be fun.
Don't watch
Or
the Blair
watch them
Witch
side by
Project.
side.
That movie's too scary. That movie needs to be buried.
Buried in the woods.
Never to be shown to another human soul because it's too frightening.
It's just too goddamn scary.
My heebies are fucking GB'd.
So my closing thoughts is I enjoyed it. It made me really want to get those Scooby Doo donuts that are being sold at Krispy Kreme right now.
I tried those.
Are they good? I mean, they're donuts. They can't be not good. Like,
I liked the one that Scooby Doo was good. And
you like the Scooby Doo themed
machine.
donut out of the dozen Scooby Doo themed donut? That really narrows it down.
One, there's four different flavors. First off,
okay,
and one of them is Scooby Doo, and it was pretty good. I didn't get to try the
one of them is Great
so
Dane flavored. Is that what you're trying to say?
Like, they say this one tastes like dog.
Yeah, that's disturbing that they have a dog flavored donut, and that one was your favorite flavor.
Okay, well, one, there's nothing wrong with eating dogs. Just kidding. But the buttercream. The buttercream is what it was.
That does sound good.
What color was the buttercream? Was it green? Because if it's green, Andrew sold it. If it's green.
I will go there tonight if it's green. Oh my God. Is it green?
Green something. No, the
I
buttercream's
mean that is why I
butter-colored.
wanted it. It's like I'm not kidding when I say if you make something green, there's a very good chance. If it's got to be unnaturally green.
Mm.
You can learn
But
more about
the
that in our
fourth one-
extended audio in our Patreon extended audio. If you would like to support our Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/cartoondd. There we have a $5 tier that gets you stickers, pins, extended audio episodes, bonus episodes, and possibly more in the future. Oh, and access to our Discord. We have a website, cartoondumpsterdive.com. There you can request a cartoon, have two cartoons go head to head in our junkyard brawl, or maybe get someone for us to interview. We'll ask anybody. We have a Twitter handle CartoonDD. We have an Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and Threads, all Cartoon Dumpster Dive. And as always, we appreciate a 5-star review on the podcasting platform of your choice so we don't become a piece of lost media that you only find on YouTube years later. Have a great rest of your week and happy Halloween! Although this comes out on Wednesday, so it'll be happy All Saints Day.
See ya.
Happy Halloween.
This has been a Lughole podcast.